Hey everybody, today's topic is legalizing pot, which I'm sure a lot of my viewers, for various reasons, want done. As you can see, I got a microphone now, so hopefully the audio quality doesn't suck like it has for the last couple videos. But legalizing pot, why to do it? There are so many reasons why we should do this. It's unbelievable. Okay, first of all, we are in a recession, as everybody knows, and we're kind of strapped for cash right now. Our government, in particular, we are running a $1.4 trillion deficit. If we were to legalize marijuana, we would take in billions of dollars in revenues from taxing it. In California alone, they're making over $1 billion, and their tax rate on marijuana is actually pretty low. So we could really curb our deficit if we were to legalize pot. No, that's not a smoker's cough. I don't know why you're suspicious or anything. Anyway, another reason is look at why marijuana has been criminalized. I mean, if you look at the history of marijuana, you see how this is complete bullshit that this is even illegal in the first place. Uh, okay, so here's basically the story. There was a machine that was at the turn of the century developed that could make picking harvesting hemp a lot easier, kind of like how the cotton gin perfected the production of cotton. Basically, there was a cotton gin of hemp, and it was really threatening other industries that were used to build stuff, like plastics, for example. Well, there was this asshole by the name of William Randolph Hearst who had a ton of money invested in these companies that hemp was going to basically destroy. And if that name sounds familiar, it's because he owns the Hearst publishing empire. And what this asshole did was he made all of his papers, and he had plenty of papers, plenty of newspapers and media sources. He made them all run stories about how there was this drug called marijuana, which black people and Mexicans, those damn immigrant Mexicans, were taking that were making them rape white women. That was the thing that rallied public sentiment against marijuana in the 1920s. So you want to look at why marijuana was criminalized? There's your reason why. Basically racism. Uh, so yeah, you start out with a really shitty reason to criminalize it in the first place, but it really gets better from there. By better, I mean crazier. Absolutely crazier. Um, oh, before I get into that, though, a fun little fact. Virginia required that all farmers grow marijuana uh, when this country was first starting out. It wasn't even an issue. It was you're going to grow marijuana. It isn't optional. That's how much they felt strongly about this. You grow marijuana. You don't have a choice. Uh, George Washington actually grew marijuana. So if you if you hate America, then you're against legalizing pot. I'm kidding, of course, but yeah. Uh, Another reason is whenever you create a black market for something, you're going to have suppliers. That's just how it always is. You create a black market for something, you're going to create a branch of suppliers that would basically are basically always going to be worse than if it were in an open market. And we saw that go on with prohibition when the mafia, they did their thing with bootlegging liquor. I killed a lot of people because they did it wrong, and it really gave organized crime quite the source of revenue. Well, basically, the same thing's going on now with marijuana. You might have heard about it. It's kind of on the Mexican border. and it's kind of killing thousands of people. Drug cartels, their number one cash crop is marijuana. So, gang violence around marijuana is predominantly because it's illegal. Would you see Marlboro and Coors getting in gang wars? I don't think you would. I don't not think you would. I know you would not see that because we don't see it now with cigarettes. Speaking of cigarettes, isn't it a little bit morally, or not morally, philosophically contradictory to allow cigarettes and alcohol but not marijuana? I mean, they're all bad for you. I mean, there's really no denying that they're all bad for you. Even pot smokers, come on, it's bad for you. But my point is that it doesn't matter if it's bad for you. It's your right to make that mistake. Just like it's your right to make the mistake of eating McDonald's and slowly killing yourself that way. Same thing with pot. If you apply the logic, it's too dangerous. You are obligated to outlaw liquor, cigarettes, and fast food. You're obligated to do that. And for good measure, let's throw in handguns there. And obviously, no one's advocating this because it's a stupid ass idea. That's why. But an interesting thing about that is there are no documented deaths as a result of marijuana overdose, marijuana poisoning. There are no documented deaths. With alcohol, you have plenty of documented deaths there. So, it's of my opinion, and it's of the opinion of many healthcare professionals, that actually, if you're looking at drugs, alcohol is far, far worse than marijuana. It's far worse. And, I mean, like I said, most healthcare professionals wouldn't dispute any of that. So, basically, you hear conservatives all the time talk about how we need to get government out of our lives. We need to get the government out of telling us what to do. Shouldn't these people be advocating we legalize pot? I mean, that's basically the government telling us we cannot use this plant that's a natural part of our world. That's basically the definition of big government, is it not? And another thing is, our prison system is getting ridiculous. We're getting overcrowding in our prison cells, and we're spending so much money on our prison system. And you want to know what the vast majority of our prisoners are in for? Drug-related charges. So, it's it's clogging up our judicial system and our prison system. So, I mean, why keep this needless prohibition? It just makes no sense to me. And I mean, there's people who argue that, well, this will break down society if we legalize pot. Okay, there are medical marijuana laws in place in Oregon, in Colorado, in Massachusetts, in California, in, I believe, Washington and Montana. I might not be right on that. But all of these... Oh, and now Arizona. Arizona just passed medical marijuana. And these medical marijuana laws are so stringent that it's basically legal there. Have you seen society break down in these states? No, you haven't seen society break down in these states. So that's a bullshit argument. So basically, yeah, you have to legalize pot. We have to legalize pot. End of story.